Well, let us turn to our Catechism question for this week. In fact, we will be looking at questions 52 to 54, which is the fifth commandment. And we're going to see in question 52 the fifth commandment stated, and then the requirement of the fifth commandment in question 53, and then the reason in question 54. So, question 52. Which is the fifth commandment? The fifth commandment is, honour thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Now, we know there are two tables of the law, and the first command in each of the tables of the law are foundational. And just like the first command in the first table of the law is foundational, that there is only one God who has redeemed us, and which leads then to the right use of his name and his worship, the right use of his day. Also, we have this fifth commandment being the first command dealing with our relationship to our neighbour is foundational. And we'll see that especially in question 53. For the way we practice this will determine our relationship to all our neighbours. The fifth commandment is, honour thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And we see even in that verse the reference that thy days may be long. One of the applications of this is that if I am not one who honours my father and mother, well, then I am going to be one who will not honour anybody in this world, and therefore I will not live a long and prosperous life in this world, even on a human level. And there is even a human application in this command. And we see then in more detail in question 53 what is required in the fifth commandment. It's not just, you'll notice in the answer, it's not just honour and obedience given to our parents. That is foundational, but there's more than that. The fifth commandment requires the preserving the honour and performing the duties belonging to everyone in their several places and relations as superiors, inferiors, or equals. And again, the explanation for that is that thy days may be long, because we don't hold a mystical view of honouring our father and mother. There's two different ways to interpret this verse. If you take the mystical view, there's some mystical promise that if you honour your father and mother, your days will be long upon the land. That's not what it means. It means if you grow up to be a person who will honour your father and mother, you will give honour to whom honour is due, and therefore your life will be long and will be blessed. So we see here in Ephesians 5, verses 21 and 22, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. And again, this comes out of the fifth commandment. Again, a wife who has grown to honour her father will find it relatively simple to honour her husband. If she did not honour her father in her life, she will find it difficult to honour her husband in the same manner. And the same with the husband to the wife. If the husband has not honoured his mother during his childhood, he will probably not honour his wife during his marriage. And then obviously more particular there in Ephesians 6, verses 1 and 5, children, obey your parents in the Lord. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. And it's no accident that we have in society today not only disobedience and dishonour to parents, but we have also, even in the workplace, dishonour given to those to whom honour is due. And Romans 13 verse 1 says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. So it's this cross range of responsibility we have to all authority, and it begins with our responsibility to our parents. Ephesians 6 verse 9, ye masters, do the same things unto them, knowing that your master also is in heaven. So not only is servants to their masters, but masters also to their servants. There is this interrelated submission. A different type of submission, yes, depending on the relationship. But to some degree there's submission in all areas and among all parties and from all parties involved. And even those who are in the highest positions, even those who are magistrates or those who are in government, they deal with people in the way they do, because they have a master in heaven. And then we have in Romans 12 verse 10 the interrelationship in the church. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honour, preferring one another. So the requirements in the fifth commandment are wide-ranging. They affect every relationship in our lives. So therefore it's not just about, this command is not just something that we teach children. It's not just a childish command. I remember for years, even as a believer, thinking that this is just one of those childish issues. No, this affects every part of our life and every part of our relationships. And again, in question 54, we have the reason that we've already made reference to in the first question. What is the reason annexed or added to the fifth commandment? The reason annexed to the fifth commandment is a promise of long life and prosperity, as far as it shall serve for God's glory and their own good to all such as keep this commandment. And our last proof text there in Ephesians 6, 2 and 3, honour thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. Which is interesting, isn't it? The first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee and thou mayest live long on the earth. How God values the relationship initially between the child and the parent, and then all relationships, is magnified by this fact that this is the first commandment with a promise. And again, as we often say, how we deal with each other is so treated by God as so important that all the first four commandments that have reference to our relationship with Him, they don't have a promise. But here, the first command that refers to our interrelationship with one another, it is attended with a promise. So how God values the interrelationship that we have with one another. And as we've said many times, how can we say that we love God whom we cannot see if we do not love one another whom we can see? So what is the fifth commandment? The fifth commandment is, honour thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.